Our planet is an incredibly amazing and beautiful place. There are many unique phenomena that rarely surprise us with their arrival, but vividly. Welcome to the top 10 rarest and most beautiful phenomena on the planet. Before we start, don't forget to share this video with your friends, let them know these facts too. Also, put a like and subscribe to our channel. We will be pleased to know that our work was evaluated. Let's get started. Polar lights. The polar lights is the electric glow of the Earth's ionosphere. Solar radiation is a stream of protons and electrons. They reach the atmosphere, invade its upper discharge layer and collide with the oxygen and nitrogen contained in it, exciting them. The electrical discharge communicated to the molecules triggers the release of energy, which becomes a light. The color of the polar glow depends on the molecules of which substance are more excited. Oxygen gives yellow and green colors, and nitrogen, red and purple. This natural phenomenon is typical only for the Earth's belts located near the north and south magnetic poles. The altitude of the phenomenon is 80 to 1,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The polar lights is mistakenly called the northern one, because it is typical not only for the northern hemisphere, but also for the southern one. The seasonal activity of the aurora falls on the first spring and autumn months, on the days of the equinox. During the day, the highest intensity of the glow appears around 11 p.m. Ball lightning. Ball lightning is a luminous spherical cloud of electric current. Even if it exists, and some scientists doubt it, it is very rare. However, many amazing stories are known about the tricks of ball lightning. For the first time, ball lightning was written in the chronicle long before our era in Rome, Portugal and other countries. From the outside, this ball sometimes resembles the shape of a mushroom or oval. The size can reach more than 20 centimeters, and the color, white, yellow, red or blue. Ball lightning appears both in thunderstorms and in sunny, windless weather. It can even get into the house from power outlets. Fire rainbow. For the formation of a fiery rainbow, light must pass through cirrus clouds when the sun is located at the altitude of about 58 degrees above the horizon. Another essential condition is the hexagonal ice crystals, which make up the cirrus clouds, which have the shape of a leaf and their faces should be parallel to the Earth. When light passes through the vertical face of such an ice crystal, it is refracted similarly as if it were passing through a prism. With this scheme, sunlight is refracted and divided into a spectrum that lights cirrus clouds with all the colors of the rainbow. The full scientific name of the fire rainbow is a rounded horizontal rainbow. You can meet such a rare phenomenon in very hot weather and only in some places of the Earth. Never observe in windy or rainy weather. The rainbow does not pose any danger to others. Mirage. Mirage is a unique and completely unpredictable natural phenomenon. Researchers of this phenomenon know almost everything about it. They can easily tell you step by step how they appear, what they are, and why they disappear. But it is quite rare to see them firsthand, because the conditions for their creation are not always and not everywhere. The mirage deceives people and gives them unrealistic hopes. It destroys entire caravans and interferes with rescue operations. It appears before the astonished eyes of the audience of ghosts, causing them to lose consciousness and at the last moment dissipate like smoke. There is a very large number of different types of mirages. The more popular ones are the lower and upper ones. The lower mirage most often occurs in arid places where the Earth is very overheated. As a rule, a puddle or pond appears in the distance. The upper mirage, on the contrary, occurs in cold places, at the north and south poles. Another name for Hellinger. Solar halo. The refraction of the sun's rays in the atmosphere creates many optical illusions that can be observed from Earth with the naked eye. One of the most spectacular phenomena of this kind is the solar halo. This phenomenon has many varieties, each of which is beautiful in its own way. But for any type of optical illusion to occur, a certain set of conditions is necessary. Solar halo, the appearance of a ring around the sun. This phenomenon occurs only 13 times in 100 years and foreshadows bad weather, a storm or heavy rain. For the first time in the chronicle, the solar halo is mentioned only in the 16th century. There are many types of solar halos that differ in the structure of arcs and rings. Gloria. This amazing phenomenon can only be observed in the clouds or high in the mountains in the form of a small rainbow ring, blue-red, around the shadow of the observer. To see Gloria, you must stand with your back to the sun or moon, represents colored rings of light on a cloud around the observer's shadow. Inside is a bluish ring, outside reddish, then the rings can be repeated with less intensity. The angular size is much smaller than that of a rainbow, depending on the size of the drops in the cloud. In China, Gloria has a second name, the Light of the Buddha. Sea foam. For the formation of foam, you need algae, a lot of algae. And the sea begins to play the sea waves once, under the influence of the wind, waves are created that mix algae with all the ocean garbage. You need a very strong wind and powerful waves to get the foam. The foam is very dense, and can remain so for a long time. But usually when it reaches the shore, it begins to gradually melt. Sea foam is a very rare phenomenon, occurring off the coast of Australia, Africa and once again off the UK due to the large amount of salt and waste in the sea or ocean. The foam is like whipped cream or cappuccino. It does not harm people or animals, but it can easily flood streets and ships. This phenomenon was first reported in 2007 in Sydney. Killer waves. Killer waves attack ships and people, appearing completely unexpectedly in the ocean. Their height can sometimes reach more than 20 meters. These natural phenomena are caused by the movement of a large mass of water, usually associated with tectonic shifts or the ingress of a large object into the water. Tsunamis become destructive in the coastal zone and on the coast itself. And in the middle of the ocean do not pose any danger, unlike a tsunami. Killer waves appear almost from nowhere and drag the victim under the water. The highest wave was recorded in 1933, in the United States. The height of the giant reached 34 meters. Firestorm. One of the most destructive and beautiful natural atmospheric phenomena on Earth. But there is an even more disastrous and incredibly beautiful version of a tornado, a fire tornado. A fire tornado is one of the rarest phenomena on the planet. It is most often caused by fires. This phenomenon occurs when fire meets eddy currents of air. The air temperature inside the funnel often reaches more than 1000 degrees Celsius. The speed of the tornado reaches more than 30 kilometers per hour. Moving through the air, it begins to suck up all objects and create new fires, transmitting fire. Moving stones. The stones are set in motion only once in 2 or 3 years. And most of the traces remain for 3 to 4 years. Stones with a ripped bottom surface leave more straight tracks. And stones lying on the flat side wander from side to side. Sometimes stones turn over, which affects the size of their footprint. In addition to the fact that all these boulders are moving in different directions, they also often change direction and turn over. Scientists have not been able to explain why the stones move. Until the beginning of the 20th century. The phenomenon was explained by supernatural forces, then during the formation of electromagnetism. There was an assumption about the influence of magnetic fields, which, in general, did not explain anything. In 1948, geologists Jim McAllister and Alan Agnew mapped the location of the rocks and marked their tracks. A little later, the U.S. National Park Service staff compiled a detailed description of the place and Life magazine published photos from racetrack playa. Most hypotheses agreed that the wind at the wet surface of the lake bottom at least partially explains the phenomenon. In 1955, geologist George Stanley of the University of Michigan published an article claiming he and his colleague proposed the theory that during the seasonal flooding of a dried-up lake, an ice crust forms on the water, which contributes to the movement of stones. This is the end of our video. Don't forget to leave your comments and suggestions. We hope that the information was useful and interesting. We want to get closer to the audience, so we are waiting for your feedback. Our team works for your interest and outlook. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.